Hello and welcome to Know Your Representative, the program that bridges the visible gap between lawmakers and their constituents. I am Mariah Olashende. We'll take a short break and I'll be back soon. Stay with us. The task of the leaders is to get their people from where they are to where they've not been. How do we hold our leaders accountable in the business of lawmaking and representation?
The mandate that you have given to us is not abuse in any way.
The primary purpose of government is to ensure the welfare and security of the Nigerian people.
The constituency project had noble intentions and they still remain the most veritable tool.
Do they really know their representatives at the states and national assemblies?
Our people, they don't have water, they are suffering. They only drink water from where rain fall.
For the current one, the 10th assembly, I don't really know who is in charge.
From the mountaintops to the deepest valleys, we're ready to go an extra mile just to show Nigerian your constituency project. Know your representative with Mariah, bridging the visible gap.
Effective labor administration is the cornerstone of sustainable national development, and for minimum wage negotiations to be legally binding, legislative approval is essential, fostering industrial peace and harmony, essential for the country's sustainable growth. In recognition of these, NILDS is organizing a one-day retreat for chairmen and members of National Assemblies, Senate and House of Representatives committees on employment, labor and productivity, aimed to review existing labor laws to create a conducive working environment for workers' productivity and economic growth. This retreat is part of NILDS' contribution to the ongoing quest for a sustainable living wage, supporting President Bola Tinubu's renewed Hope Agenda, where a team of seasoned panelists and speakers will address key issues in labor, employment, and productivity across the country. Special guest of honor, President of the Senate and Chairman, NILDS Governing Council, Distinguished Senator Godswill Obot Akpabio, CON, Speaker, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, Guest of Honor, Minister of State, Labor and Employment, Honorable Nkiruka Onyejocha, OON. Join us on July 8, 2024 at NILDS Campus, number 2 Abubakar O. Sulaiman Avenue, Umaru Musa Eradua Expressway, Airport Road, Abuja. Time 10 a.m. prompt. Chief Host, Director General, NILDS, Professor Abubakar O. Sulaiman. NILDS, driving legislative excellence for a better Nigeria.
The President of the Senate, Distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, paid a visit to NILDS, that's the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, on a facilitated tour. After the tour, Senator Akpabio commended the DJ NILDS, Professor Abubakar Olariwaju Sulaiman, for a job well done.
You're welcome, sir. Yes, sir.
How are you?
Fine, sir.
This place is big.
History was made on June the 7th, 2024, when the President of the Senate and Chairman of the National Assembly, Distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, paid a visit to the state-of-the-art National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILDS, in Abuja. On hand to receive the President of the Senate is the host and DG of NILDS, Professor Abubakar Olariwaju Sulaiman.
If you have any comment from outside or guests that want to know about Nigerian political history, you can come in here, tap into it, to give you everything. We are trying to document the history of Nigerian legislature. When the first chamber was put in place, the structure, what it was, everything is documented here. So that before you go get to the library to see the core, manual, electronically you can access everything.
Olariwaju Abubakar Sulaiman took the President of the Senate, who was accompanied by the Senate leader, Senator Okweyemi Bamidele, Senator Osita Ungu, Senator Asuko Ekpeyong, and Senator Abiru Adetokunbo, on a tour around the edifice, after which the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, who is quite impressed with what he saw on the ground, commended Professor Abubakar Sulaiman, the Director General of NILDS, for the Institute's impressive facilities and its significant potential contributions to Nigerian democracy. Akpabio doubles as the president of the Senate and chairman of the NILDS Governing Council, says the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILDS, is worthy of emulation.
The facilities we are seeing here may overwhelm you and your staff at the moment. But I can tell you 25 years from now, when Nigeria is producing 50 years, this facility will be able to award degrees, PhDs, and even do first degrees for students of Nigerian politics and contemporary politics all over the world. This may be the answer to the request for the reintroduction of history studies in schools across the nation. We should be able to send students from state to state to come here, to come and at least do internship on political studies of their country, so that they will have better insight. Because when you learn about what transpired in the past, and you have, through research conducted by NILDS, the reasons why those things happened in the past, the political evolution, it will help you to avoid the mistakes of the past, so that Nigeria will not go into conflagration. So I'm very proud of what I've seen, and we will encourage you to continue. And even then, you also provided an office for the chairman of council. I know if I enter your office, you'll be better than this one. But this is a major improvement. So I'm happy to visit. So whoever is chairman of the governing council will always have an office here. So this is a major, major improvement. But I have a dream about this complex. And my dream for this complex is a complex that will be manned by the private sector, generating revenue and awarding degrees that will be respected all over the world. That's my dream. But for now, I'm very proud of what I've seen, and we will take more interest in the activities of this center. I can assure you of that.
Professor Abubakar Sulaiman also thanked the president of the Senate for his supportive role and encouraged him to visit the institute regularly.
And I know where you come, you will not be disappointed. You have seen everything. NILDS is one in Africa. NILDS is almost one in Southern Sahara. You can't see any of these anywhere. In terms of capacity, in terms of standard, in terms of the quality of students we produce, in terms of the training modules, you can't get it anywhere. And that is why we keep on encouraging our leadership to give us the necessary support. You have everything that it takes. You don't need to go to Oxford or Harvard for anything. You have everything here. This is the best you can get anywhere in Africa. And this is the best you can get anywhere in the world. Your Excellency, I need to let you know that the last council under the former Senate President did agree that we should start an advanced executive course, something akin to what obtained in Harvard. Because looking at the economic situation in the country, you can't be spending our money on sending our parliamentary staff from state assembly to all this country. We don't have the resources. And that's what informed those auditoriums you see there. So that when you go to Harvard, that is exactly what you see there, in terms of language interpretations, in terms of facilities, and that is where we're trying to put all these things in places. The convention center you see there has been there for the past 6 years. 50% under completion. It's meant for you. It's meant for the leadership. It's meant for the parliamentary staff. It's meant for every critical stakeholder in democracy in Africa. I want to please urge you, take that as part of your legacy to complete the conference center.
After an impressive tour, the Director General of NILDS, Professor Abubakar Sulaiman, took the President of the Senate to his office to brief him more on the day-to-day activities of NILDS.
Your Excellency, we do receive training every week from states. We subsidize their training because we need to develop our capacity. If you have to go by profit, you can't do that. But you can't have training here, going to the town to go and lodge, to go and stay. Hence the issue of having a dormitory. We have a design of 102 dormitory capacity here. I've spoken to you, sir, Your Excellency. I've spoken to the leadership. I've spoken to the appropriation people. If you can get that one done under your stewardship, it will go on record that, yes, you have done something uncommon again in the history of Nigerian Parliament. We have a whole lot, but it's for the council to discuss. It's not for me to say here. But what is important here today is just to commend you for your stewardship, for the motivations, for your encouragement, for the fact that you transcend the issue of partisanship, to have given us all the necessary encouragement to move on. And I want to assure you I will not disappoint you. Members of management here will not disappoint you. The governing council have assured us of their support under your leadership, and I want to assure what we have seen today, by the time you come back in the next 1 month or 2 months for governing council, you will see a better improvement on what we are seeing today here. Please feel free anytime. The situation where National Assembly take training to contract outside should be discouraged. The issue of induction is the mandate of NILDS. In the last 2 inductions, they've taken that away from us. Under your leadership, please let us get back that mandate. We have everything for you to do the induction. That thing must stop. 25 years of democracy and development in Nigeria, reflections on progress and challenges. Before the Nigerian public, I'm presenting the publication to Mr. Senate President for you to present the work. Thank you, sir.
At the event, Prof.Sulaiman unveiled NILDS' latest publication, 25 Years of Democracy and Development in Nigeria, which features a foreword by the President of the Senate, distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio. The publication chronicles Nigeria's democratic journey and development since 1999.
Giving you support since we came on board on 13th of June 2023. In the next 1 week or thereabout, we should be marking our first anniversary in office. And then we will, on that day, further present this research work undertaken by NILDS, for which the foreword was written by me to all members of the National Assembly, and then to state governors for onward transmission to their different state legislatures. I want to say congratulations for a job well done. So on behalf of the leadership of the Senate and on behalf of all distinguished senators, just want to say, keep the flag flying. We have made a lot of inroads into legislation and legislative activities in the last 1 year. And one will say, which one appeals to me the most? And I'll say, well, the law, the bill that was sent to us by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on students' loans and scholarship program to enable Nigerian vulnerable students, the less privileged, to obtain higher education, which we worked on and passed in collaboration with the House of Representatives in record time and assented to by Mr. President, and money voted and made available. And as I speak to you now, over 30,000 Nigerian students have already been selected to benefit from that scheme.
President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, provides more information on the essence of the Nigeria's old national anthem, Nigeria We Hail Thee, now approved as the new national anthem by President Bola Tinubu.
The other one of social impact is reverting to our old national anthem. A lot of people are not aware that there was a panel set up, made up of Nigerians, to receive inputs from all over the world in 1959. And they were given time, and the panel had over 6 months to walk around to receive inputs. The intention was to get a national anthem that best reflects the feelings of Nigerians and the situation on ground. If we kept to that national anthem, we probably will not have banditry today in Nigeria. Because if you take your neighbor as your brother, you will not want to kill your brother, would you? If you take your neighbor as your brother, you will not want to go into the farm to behead your brother. So in brotherhood, we stand. And it ended with a prayer. Oh God of creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. So I want to congratulate all Nigerians, congratulate President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for assenting. And this is the first time that the Parliament has decided to codify the national anthem.
Effective labor administration is the cornerstone of sustainable national development, and for minimum wage negotiations to be legally binding, legislative approval is essential, fostering industrial peace and harmony, essential for the country's sustainable growth. In recognition of these, NILDS is organizing a one-day retreat for chairmen and members of National Assembly's Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Employment, Labor and Productivity, aimed to review existing labor laws to create a conducive working environment for workers' productivity and economic growth. This retreat is part of NILDS' contribution to the ongoing quest for a sustainable living wage, supporting President Bola Tinubu's renewed Hope Agenda, where a team of seasoned panelists and speakers will address key issues in labor, employment, and productivity across the country. Special guest of honor, President of the Senate and Chairman, NILDS Governing Council, Distinguished Senator Godswill Obot Akpabio, CON. Speaker, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD. Guest of honor, Minister of State, Labor and Employment, Honorable Inkiruka Onyejocha, OON. Join us on July 8, 2024 at NILDS Campus, number 2 Abubakar O. Suleiman Avenue, Umaru Musa Eradua Expressway, Airport Road, Abuja. Time 10 a.m. prompt. Chief host, Director General, NILDS, Professor Abubakar O. Suleiman. NILDS, driving legislative excellence for a better Nigeria.
As preparation for the amendment of Nigerian 99 Constitution got underway in the 10th National Assembly, clamor for efficient and responsive state police system are on the increase on daily basis across the length and breadth of the country. The leader of the Senate, Dr. Michael Opembamdele, has reiterated call for the establishment of state policing system, saying is the best for the country.
The onerous task of maintaining law and order should be the primary responsibility of the state governor as the chief security officer of the state. This, however, has not been the case for governors who are reduced to ceremonial chief security officers. It is against the backdrop that I wish to emphasize the need for state police, which, in my opinion, will go a long way in mitigating the current realities of insecurity in the country. The paper today posits that in order to achieve some semblance of security in this country, there is need to decentralize the police force and empower state governments to have control over their security affairs. This should, however, be done within the parameters of checks at the center to prevent abuse of power.
The Senate leader made the call at the 2024 public lecture on constitutional amendment and the political dynamics of state policing in Nigeria, organized by the Department of Political Science in collaboration with Institute for Legislative Studies, University of Ilorin. Senator Bamdele who is also the vice chairman of the Senate Committee on the Review of the 1999 Constitution, said the challenges facing the Nigerian police are numerous.
Effective policing in Nigeria is almost impossible unless there are fundamental changes. Indeed, the constraints faced by the police are used as excuses for various misconducts and unprofessional behaviors by many officers and men of the force. Despite many attempts by the leadership of the police to enforce discipline and even sack a few bad eggs, improper conduct by the police undermines their ability to fight the pervasive insecurity across the country.
The Senate leader explained that in order to forestall the issue of abuse by the state governor, the Constitution amendment must consider stringent checks and balances with a robust mechanism for oversight and accountability to ensure that the state policing force operate within the legal framework.
To mitigate such risks, any constitutional amendment must be accompanied by stringent checks and balances. There should be robust mechanisms for oversight and accountability to ensure that state police forces operate within the bounds of the law and respect citizens' rights. Federal oversight, independent review boards, and clear legislative frameworks are essential to prevent misuse of power.
Meanwhile, the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Jubrin Barau, who was represented at the event by the Deputy Leader of the Senate, Senator Oyelola Ashiru, said the issue of the state police has become a topical issue for all Nigerians.
The topic we are discussing today is the core, the real core of Nigerian issue. It's easier to say that we are talking about state policing, but the implication of totality of our security system, and especially the topical issue of today of state police, will have a great impact on what Nigeria becomes tomorrow. Security is economy. Security is good life. Security is growth. Security is almost everything you think of.
Chairman of the Senate Committee on Trade and Investment, Senator Sadiq Umar, said in his goodwill message, the state police is globally accepted.
Based on the topic, I've said it. Leader has carried us around everything that we need to know from the historical perspective of, state policing, the exigencies, the challenges, and he gave a robust recommendation, which leader, by the way, I agree with, because it covers essentially all the contentious issues that affect state policing. This is my thought. It is generally acceptable globally, and indeed even in Nigeria, that we need state police to respond to local security challenges, because security challenges are local and they are best addressed locally.
The Vice Chancellor of the University of Ilorin, Professor Wahab Egbewale, in his welcome address, called on the legislative arm of government to come up with a robust legal framework for state policing system.
On the issue of state police, there is no doubt that the idea is good in principle, and it will ensure that our communities are safe. However, appropriate legislative provisions must be made to avoid the kind of challenge we are witnessing with the state electoral commissions. We must ensure that they are not created for political witch hunting. It's a duty on the legislator to put in place provisions that are watertight and not easily abused.
The public lecture attracted people from all walks of life, which include politicians, academic scholars, students, and other stakeholders. Senate leader, Senator Dr. Akpabio, public lecture on political dynamics of state policing has further deepened national discourse on the quest for efficient and responsive policing.
While you deliberate on it, we are going.
The task of the leaders is to get their people from where they are to where they've not been. How do we hold our leaders accountable in the business of lawmaking and representation?
The mandate that you have given to us is not abuse in any way.
The primary purpose of government is to ensure the welfare and security of the Nigerian people.
Constituency project had noble intentions and they still remain the most veritable tool.
Do they really know their representatives at the states and national assemblies?
Our people, they don't have water, they are suffering. They only drink water from where rain fall.
For the current one, the 10th assembly, I don't really know who is in charge.
From the mountaintops to the deepest valleys, we're ready to go an extra mile just to show Nigerian your constituency project. Know your representative with Mariah, bridging the visible gap. Thank you for being a part of the program today. Join us same time next week for another interesting edition of the program. For missed episodes, you can catch up on our YouTube page, My Base TV. Thanks for watching. I am Mariah Olashende. God bless you and God bless Nigeria.